You are now tuned in to Uptown Talk.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
We back. We back.
Just that good music, man. You feel me?
Is it good though?
Nah, it's that real music, man. You feel me? Shout out, Lil B, man.
What you about to do, a mixtape?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, man. It's Friday, good music. We live.
You gotta stop saying good music before Kanye come for us.
He just came out with that trash album.
I like that fade out.
Love you, Kanye.
That was smooth. I like that fade out.
But like we always say, man, if you listen to this and you know who we are, thank you for listening to us and all the things that we've been doing, and we're going to keep y'all updated. But if you're listening to this and you have no idea who we are, this is Uptown Talk. We're back here to discuss everything that we got going on, everything that's, transpiring in this crazy world throughout these moments. So what's good, fellas? What's the vibe? What's the energy like?
What up, fam?
You really trying to turn that into our little drop in the beginning, right?
No, that is. I'm really trying to.
I'm like, what you like? I just peeped this like the third time you did that. Like,
It's
like,
consistency.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah,
It's
come on,
cute.
man.
It's not-
Cube was saying something. Cube said something like, you gotta. I think he said something like, you gotta keep up with your habits to get your blessings. Come on, man. We gotta stay consistent with this.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get people used to how we talk.
He also said, you gotta be a deadbeat when the kids gotta eat.
Come on, man. He was spitting real bars.
Oh.
Real bars. Damn, I was trying to search for a way to put in like, the name I messed up again. Damson Idris.
Yeah, I was about to say
That was actually pretty good.
No,
No, it was good. He practiced all week.
Yeah, he Jimmy on the spot when the pod get on.
Did you hear that last week?
Cause how I not like that talk. That's my acting for the rest of the
I was
day.
about to say I did it better, but anyway.
Do it, try it. Go
So
ahead.
I'm like-
No, go ahead.
I'm
Try
not
it.
gonna
You're on
do-
camera. You're
back,
on
get
camera.
Back,
Do it.
Yo, get back on topic. This is the problem. Damn, ain't no damn order in here. Damn,
So how have you gentlemen's weeks been?
gentlemen's.
How was your week, yo?
Man, ain't nothing crazy happening in my week besides me hurt my foot. That's about it. I sprained my toe.
Oh yeah.
It's really wild because Tosin just got off of being sick and now your foot fucked up.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
It's a sad world. It hasn't. It's been a rough week, man.
You a real Mr. Glass, ain't you? Every night I break my legs.
You saved your ass on that one.
yeah.
Nah, y'all ain't never
Yeah.
seen you never seen the movie?
What movie?
Yeah, y'all uncultured niggas. But go
What's
ahead.
the movie?
We'll talk about it later. But
You don't even know the damn movie.
so Talib, how was your week?
Yo, so I talked to you about it earlier on the phone.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I gotta tell the public, yo. I went to see Dune 2 yesterday. Top 5 dead or alive. That
Yo,
was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Nah, it's funny too. When Sean told me about that earlier, and even when you just said it, and I was like, "What do you mean he went to go see my brother?" And he said Dune too. I was because that ass. He said he went to go see Dune. I was like, "What you mean?"
I didn't go to see La Dune.
I
I
think
went
I
to see
told
Dune
him like,
2.
well, you see that nigga? He ain't wash dishes.
And I was about to say, "Where he go? He ain't finished paying his half of the mortgage, nigga." I mean, he did, but I'm just no, because he was in that episode of Power. Nah, that episode of Raising Kanan. Yo, I was up with my coworker, and she's like, "Yeah, Tosin, I just seen your brother get locked up last night." I said, "That nigga can't get locked up. He ain't paying his half of the rent."
Yo, I swear to God, I know you have people at your job be like, now Tosin, why you didn't tell me you act too?
I do.
Now why you didn't tell me you act a little bit on the side? You got cocky too.
Yes,
You
wait
don't like
up.
the way another nigga.
It's wrong show.
Nah, but I know I'm not gonna do it when you wanted me to do it. That's the main thing. I just don't like being told what to do.
Late, bro.
It's okay. I'd rather be late than be listening to you.
Listen,
It's a pod.
My bad, Tyler. Keep
Dune
going.
2 was amazing. That's all I gotta say.
Yo, I asked this dude. I was like, "Yo, how? What?" He was like, "Not gonna lie, bro. One of the best days of my life." I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Yeah, word.
Word. I was like,
Wait, you got
literally-
married? That was
It's up there. I promise you, I told Sean, if my son wanted to come, I would have told him wait.
So shoot, I hope we win. But nah, I was able to get back in and we brought that thing home. You know,
that's
shout out. You know, we do it big over here.
It's funny. I gotta
Give
give.
us a sponsorship since y'all employing him. That's what I was about to say.
I definitely gotta give Sean his props. I was sharing with the fellas. Sean, I'm gonna give a description of his game. Sean, he's a sharpshooter. If I could compare him to anybody in the league, I would say he's like a Rashard Lewis. I would say that's a good comp of
Damn,
Sean.
I fuck with that.
Yeah, Rashard Lewis and stuff. But Sean,
Throwback.
he displayed a widespread game where he was facilitating, he was offensive rebounding, and he was playing defense. And I mean, shoot, I know the fellas looking at me like, wow, like that don't even sound like Sean. I don't have it recorded or anything, but I was amazed. You could, yeah. It was amazing.
So basically, he was playing like Prince versus Charlie Murphy.
Nah, bro, I was feeling it.
He turned into Draymond, man.
mean,
I ain't
I ain't
gonna
gonna hold you.
It
It couldn't be that hard to play defense against them old ass niggas.
Nah, I ain't gonna front. They had some young. Nah,
Yeah,
I ain't
they
gonna front. It was
did,
a
they
nigga on their squad that played D1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna front. They had some players, bro.
Oh, okay, my fault.
And dude I was facing was like a little bit taller than me too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna front. That jump was fun though,
Yeah.
bro. That's why I was just like, we gotta do it. We gotta go to a league. We gotta ball up and just sign up for a league and just play. Get our old asses out there.
No,
Start running that shit.
I just want to reiterate, shout out to Mar Terminal and just Longshoremen's for putting on that event because it was super dope and it was super enjoyable from start to finish.
Word and King for letting us
Word
forward
King
there, bro.
for
The
hosting,
shit was
for
dope
sure.
as hell.
Yo, y'all shouting a lot of people that ain't sponsoring us.
All right, look, bro, we gotta make connections.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No
Come
free
on
promo.
now. Come on
Nah,
now.
this is our CFO over here.
Oh, we're not for real, for real.
No
No
free
free
promo.
promo.
Or
Nah.
there were no free promo.
Nah.
Yeah,
Word.
we
managed. Blah, blah, blah. We're
We-
just gonna when you do that, you're gonna cut it and
Nah, I'm
have
not.
like
We
the
gonna
real
throw-
word that's supposed to be
Definitely
there.
not.
We
I'm
gonna
definitely
throw
not.
Talib's business email in the description so they can get at him. So
Word, for real, for
It's
real.
all gonna work itself out.
It
Also-
won't be for free.
Also, too, another beautiful moment that we had. Talib had his baby shower. Come on, man.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a bunch of
Word.
times. I literally wake up and throughout the day and be like, "Man, this dude really having a kid, bro."
Or
Like,
I'm gonna drop the I'm gonna drop the pictures at some point. In
oh,
here, somewhere.
word.
I'm gonna throw like just one. He had
If
in true baby shower culture. My brother had the nice Burberry on.
Yes.
It wasn't.
What's good with me?
It sounded like he was beatboxing.
Tradition.
Alright, chill out, Timberland.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, I was like, when he said he had because he told us before that he had a Burberry. I was
I
like,
did tell y'all.
I wonder how it's gonna look because I'm like, some dudes wearing a Burberry, they look trash. I was like, I taught this nigga well.
What?
So soon as I walked up to my boy, I said, "Bro, you on brand?" That's all I
Word.
had to say to him. You
Word.
on brand. Great
I had to
fabric,
go up to my
great
wife.
material.
I was like, yeah, that's good fabric right
Yeah.
there.
Word.
That's
Qua-
great.
It's quality.
Yeah, quality fabric,
Quality.
man.
I'm
I
not
searched
mad at
high
it.
and low for that.
Well, for real?
Yeah.
Shoot, I ain't gonna lie.
I wanted a modern take
Nah, you
on the
did.
classic.
Cause usually niggas usually wear like the big baggy,
Yeah.
baggy Burberry.
The
and
one with the
shit.
fat sleeves.
Yeah,
Hold
hell
on.
yeah.
We're not gonna skip over that bar my man just said. Can you repeat that?
Wait, which one?
A modern.
Oh, I wanted a modern take on an old classic.
Come on,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
tough. That's
Yeah,
tough. That's
yeah,
clean.
for
You
sure.
be
I
rehearsing
like
for this.
that.
You be rehearsing for the show. This is supposed to be like.
I like that.
That's
Alright.
what we do. That's what we do. And other really ridiculous news, though, we're gonna talk about Trump coming out with a new sneaker.
You wore his sneakers while you was playing.
No, I didn't. If I did, we probably would have got our asses bust. Honestly.
And then you probably convinced everybody after that y'all still won.
No, hell no. It's crazy because I think Fat Joe just got the sneaker or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't they retailing for like 400 or some shit like that?
That's how much they.
I think so.
Well,
Something along those lines.
Well, thank you for that, Tosin, because we were gonna play a game called Guess That Resell. So yeah.
I mean, we could still Google it. It could be wrong.
No, don't look it up because I want y'all to guess how much y'all think it would resell for.
The Trump ones.
Them shit's
How much
definitely
are
like
the
Air
Trump
Force
ones
Ones that Rasheed Wallace used to wear back in the league.
If I'm an old
Racist.
racist hick that's just gotten divorced and is an alcoholic,
Well,
What's the range
well,
you
the
can get
first
resale
thing
for?
is I'm gonna ask though. They're not some real Republican joints. Why ain't got a gun holster on the back?
They not real.
They
yeah,
not,
yeah.
nah.
They didn't put that in the design.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. I heard if you like unscrew the bottom of it, it has something under it, like where it gives you directions on how to. I really don't even know where I was going with that. I literally have no idea where I was
Yeah,
going.
but the gun holster.
Yeah, it was something like that. You could hide like a little what's the tell them know about guns? A little 22 under the bottom of it or something like that. Yeah.
Little deuce.
Yeah. Little deuce on his you know how I like it.
Stupid.
Nah, but I would guess if I'm a old fat country dude and racist, I'll probably pay about $300 for him.
As a black man, how much would you pay for them?
I wouldn't wear them.
I'm just asking.
I know Black History just passed, but come on, bro.
No, but I'm just saying because apparently, Fox News is over there saying, yeah, this is what the black people want. I was like, we do?
I'm not gonna lie though, that is so blatantly like racist that it's like
He's touching the black community. I was like, oh my god.
No, it's funny because I was gonna say the resell on them have to be ridiculous because when have we ever seen a former president and somebody who's going to be running for the presidency once again have a shoe like that? That's like
that nigga should never start talking
Obama
to
dropped some
Kanye.
Jordans.
Nah,
Word.
It wasn't Obama like 11s?
I blame Kanye for this shit. That nigga seen this. He like, if I just start with some sneakers, I can get these niggas.
come
Nah,
on,
that's
Come on,
crazy.
bro. Like,
Nah, but it was just so blatantly racist. I was just looking. I was like, "Is this what This is what they really think the black community represents? Sneakers?"
I mean, I don't know. It's a stupid. It feels like a really stupid stereotype that it's just like so.
It's hilarious though. It's a little, in a sense, if you have a little bit of a sick humor, it's just like, wow, this is. And first off, let's get this out the way. Them shits is trash.
Yeah, no, they're garbage.
I don't think we
They're
emphasize. I'm like the colorway is absolutely not.
bro. Trump really tried to get us with the black church and now sneakers. He really, bro. That was his tactic to sell. Black
It's
people,
crazy
like.
though. He really going for every racist stereotype though.
Nah, he. It's like I don't know. I feel like he's playing somewhat like campaign racist bingo. He's like, how many racist things can I do before like it becomes like absolutely repulsive and like nobody wants to vote for me?
I wonder what his PR team is saying.
They're
I don't
racist,
know. The funny thing is, I don't know if his PR team is like saying no and he's just doing it, or they're actually like in cahoots to do this.
I don't know what the.
I think he's saying no.
You think he's saying?
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Other than that goofiness, I feel like we've been getting like a lot of good, like a lot. This feels like a year that we're getting like good content when it comes to like cinema, when it comes to like TV shows.
Okay.
Todd just talked about watching Dune and how crazy that was.
As the only brother with locks in here, I felt like I had a duty to fulfill. So I definitely went in there. I went to watch it. It was, well, outside of Bob Marley's accent, which was, I don't want to say it was bad, but it also wasn't the greatest. It was a good movie. You know what I'm saying? And no, it was a great movie. I'll tell you that. Like it's just like everybody around him who's around him had nice, great, like
Traditional
Jamaican accents.
Jamaican accent.
You get what I'm saying? And what else I was thinking? I think the main thing to take outside of like they had good casting, but I do like how they depicted like, because for anybody who's going to watch it, I'm not, without trying to give away too many spoilers, it's not like a movie that entails really his whole life, but like kind of more of like a segment. And I know. And you could tell because the movie's an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, that's not really
Yeah.
long.
For a biopic, it's not. That's really not that long.
And
But
granted, he only lived until like I think it was like 36 or like 37.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
But still, like that's still not. It can't embody his whole life.
nah, but it really did cover how, or at least try to embody a part of the idea that he was trying to and like by spreading love through music. You get what I'm saying? And that was like, I think the main thing that I really enjoyed, and just hearing Bob Marley's story, because if you hear a lot of Bob Marley's music, it is a lot. It is very positive message enforced, and like, you know, it comes from a place of like love, and that's why his music, I will always say, is like gonna be, you know, timeless. Timeless. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be all that, and on top of that, he's like a icon for Jamaica. You get what I'm saying? He never. I don't think he ever will not be. And yeah, I think that's mainly what I'm trying to get at. I think it's important that, you know, we do have depictions of artists who are legends, but their music spoke of something like bigger. You get what I'm saying?
Something beyond just them.
Yeah, it was very much beyond it. It served a purpose. You get, and that's the really thing that I loved about it.
I think for me, like when it comes to like music and why I have like a certain rubric for how I judge or even like categorize like certain artists, or especially like in hip hop, which I've always felt like has had like a little bit of a political edge to it. I've always graded artists that's able to tap into something that's greater than them on a higher scale. I've always, when you can have an artist that could not so much speak for just themselves, but speaks for the times in which that they're living in, I think like that's being able to go beyond, and you're able to touch people because you're able to touch the actual lived experience that they're having. You know, to be able to encapsulate a whole population's experience, you know, through music is something that I don't know what other art form really gives people that, because it's a combination of rhythm and lyrics and things that people are able to connect to that goes beyond I don't know, it goes beyond just being able to see it. When you're able to hear something, it's kind of like you internalize it a little bit different.
Oh wait, are you talking to a specific genre, or are you just talking about music in general?
I'm talking about music in general, but for me as a person that is I would call myself a connoisseur of hip hop, and I love music in general. But when it comes to hip hop, those are like things that I love too. Like I love when rappers talk about love, and just to go off into a little bit of a further topic we wanted to touch on too, was just where do we feel like I feel like we was having a conversation outside of the pod about the lack of love in music, because I've heard like y'all say like, yo, I've kind of not really listened to a lot of hip hop because I feel like I can't it's too hard to search for the love in a lot of the music. And I think like even in R&B, a lot of like modern day R&B, it doesn't have that same kind of old school feel. Like people talk about love, they talk about relationships, they talk about experiences, but like I listen back to old songs and the way that they talk and describe and like get into love is
the content is like, it's
descriptive. And I don't feel like we have that. What do y'all think? What you think, Juan?
So personally for me, I think it's normally where you have like where you're looking for the particular artist. For me, it's a lot of it's some independent artists, but it's some artists who's not like very popular on platforms where they're making a spectacle of themselves on social media and stuff like that. Like a few artists I could think of is a guy named Keon Dixon. He's not super popular, but he has great content. Snow Allegra, Daniel Caesar, and there's various other artists. So on the hip hop side, these are acts that they have longevity in the game, but they're currently still putting out great music. Black Thought, Common, Nas, an artist from today that I listen to a lot, that I had you fellas listen to a couple of times with Saba. I think Saba.
I like Saba.
I think Saba music, it speaks to like the crime that happens within Chicago, but it humanizes Chicago and shows you the love and the roots of the Southern and Midwest roots that's also there. So it gives it a different dynamic. It doesn't just glorify the killing. So
I think for me, and it's not so much a job about the music just being like, yo, it needs to be love, but it has to have purpose. You get what I'm saying? I think that's the main thing. Or it doesn't have to like, I hate to be like the you know, sound like a preacher, but it's just preaching hate, you know, sometimes. And I'm not saying that's all music, but a lot of hip hop now, that's why I'm not really I can't connect with it because I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never been the person to, well, except for 50 Cent's one of 50 Cent's first album,
Get Rich
Without
Trying.
Trying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I like that one, but
That's undeniable.
you get what I'm saying? A lot of hip hop, I don't really necessarily. It didn't resonate with my life. You get what I'm saying? Or not that it didn't, but it's more. Some of them resonated more. Like, you know, growing up, we listened to a lot of J. Cole, Kendrick, Kanye, especially Kanye. That's what I'm saying. And me growing up, like I always tell you how Late Registration was the first album I ever bought. You get what I'm saying? So Kanye, that more resonated with me because it put hip hop in a space where I felt like it was accessible to me.
Mind you, we are talking about Kanye probably from 2004
we're
to
talking
about
2004,
2016. Everything past that is up in the air.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I think that era of music, it put purpose and there was like a love behind it. But now sometimes it just feels like, I don't know, I can't just listen. Like I like a full range. Like, all right, cool, I can listen to Lil Durk for like 2-3 songs. You get what I'm saying? But then it's like, I don't want to hear you about how you splitting the block or you about to hit the ops and you know all this other stuff. And I think that's a lot of what, not just Lil Durk, but a lot of artists today. Not saying that they're not nice, because some of those music, it does put you in a certain mind frame. Like if you're going to the gym, I could listen to that music, but I can't listen to it
or in the club
day to
or
day.
something.
Like I can't wait. I can't start my morning listening to that. That's why I like, you see me, I like listen to a lot of Afro beats, because a lot of the themes behind the music and what pushes it is love. And even I was just talking to one of my friends. It was just like, it's such positive messaging. You get what I'm saying? Literally, like you hear that Ashake song. It's like he says, "Sun gonna shine on everything you do." You get what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. Even, and they speak in other languages and saying, even what they're saying in another language is very powerful. I was telling Talo, like one time when he was with me, like how he was just saying little stuff like, and Yoruba saying, I forgot, he said Kiku Mama Mapu. I'm about to butcher this. Kiku Mapa brother. He's like saying basically, and Yoruba people, don't come kill me. But he's saying like, my brother should not die, my helper should not die. Little stuff like that. How the energy I want to put out and take in.
I want to say something to that point, because I feel like I don't want to get too stuck on it, because there's something that I do have to counter with that. But I want to hear what Tyler felt about the about just the lack of love in music, because I know he was the one that's saying too, like he hasn't been able to really connect with hip hop like that in a minute.
Yeah, I find myself now listening more to like the classics, and that's why I always talk about like we're in that perfect age group that like, you know, we can still appreciate like albums like Good Kid, Mad City, you know, like Friday Night Lights, you know, we can still appreciate albums like that. So like,
really, we're growing up during those times.
Like when in doubt, I could just listen to that. You know, like if I absolutely just like wanted to listen to hip hop, if I want to work out, you know, I could put on like Good Kid, Mad City. You know, like I can put on like some old Cole, I could put on some old Kanye. Like if I want to, you know, if I want to just take a nice drive, you know, like I could listen to a little bit of Schoolboy. You know, like we have artists that like, okay, like if I'm feeling that way, I can listen to that music, whatever. So I don't really need to listen to the new stuff that they have out now. But we even wanted to talk about that because the main thing I'm seeing is that we're hearing so much more of that music. Like the mainstream, where it used to be Kanye, you know, it used to be like, you know, J. Cole Power Trip or something. You know, like songs that weren't just like, you know, spewing like hate. You know, it like the mainstream music wasn't that. But I find myself now hearing, like, how can you hear so much hate on the radio? You know, like that's broadcast to everyone. That's not just about like black people and our demographic. You know, that's what anyone would hear if you hear it's almost like that's a representation now of the urban radio, like an urban radio station.
I think that there is something to also when an art form, like when I think about just hip hop and its in its essence of what it ended up becoming. And people talk about this all the time when like labels start to get involved within the within the art form, and then also too you have the, you know, when the labels come, the money comes. So that's the like the capitalistic aspect of it that starts to come in, and whatever is being pushed out, like whatever is going to make money is going to be pushed out. I think a big question I also ask myself too is like, I feel like America or just society in its whole does have a very much a I don't know, like a fetishization of seeing like black trauma. Like they do have like, they're like black trauma sells, you know, violent sells. And also too, it's never lost on me that these people are also talking from lived experiences. When you have somebody like a Lil Durk, and you have somebody like a 21 Savage, or even Schoolboy just came out. You know, when they talk about the life that they live, it's also too a reflection of their lived experience. And you know, and the way that it is growing up in, you know, a lot of times these crowded, super crowded metropolitan areas and stuff, and these urban areas, these big cities that they're living in. You know, you think about New York and you think about how hip hop came up from there. A lot of the early New York stuff was, well, I'm not going to say the early New York stuff, but I'm going to say around the 90s and stuff, when hip hop became profitable. A lot of the music that was getting played was really that grimy, gritty, you know, hip hop, literally just talking about growing up, living in poverty, you know, how to get out, what were they doing to get out of those places, and also too the way in which, you know, the black experience is in America, how it's so adversarial. You know, it's not, you're not living in a neighborhood you're engaging with the world. So your experience on how that comes out is different too. So like, as much as this is not me to make an excuse necessarily for a lot of the output of the music, but it's also too to make a realization of like, what is it that we're seeing and that we have been seeing. I feel like in hip hop though, there is a problem for me that there isn't enough, I think, love in a lot of the mainstream music. You know, because if you look hard enough in hip hop, there's plenty of artists that are talking from a very introspective, loving, and caring side. But I do think that there's a problem that it's so hard to find a lot of that. You know, but I also engage people. I also encourage people and would tell them like, hey, if you do really love hip hop like that, you know, look for these artists and try and find them. And because me, I love hip hop. It's something that's always been with me. It's something that I'm always gonna love. So I'm always searching and trying to find like the artists that fit the aesthetic of the music that I want to hear.
Yeah, so I think giving them a deal to make a certain kind of music, and I think they were trying to do a different route with certain stuff, and they was just like, yeah, we're not gonna write the deal if you try to do this kind of album. And I know I probably have to get the context of that whole interview better, but it was something along those lines where they were trying to push a certain kind of music on their demographic because they know, you know what I'm saying. And you know, I think America has just made it so easy for this negative ideal to be pushed out because, you know, early, like the 70s, 80s, you know, what was popular was stuff like, you know, Michael Jackson and Temptations talking about love and all this other things, you get what I'm saying? And even, I mean, you still see, you know, pieces of it now because, look, SZA Snooze is like breaking records. I think it's like Diamond or some joint now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I think we can do it, and and I know yeah, I know SZA's not necessarily like rap. You get what I'm saying? But she is part of the hip hop.
She's rap adjacent.
And she's still part of the hip hop community.
Yeah, she's hip hop adjacent.
Yeah, she's still a part of the hip hop community. So I do think it necessarily does need to be pushed, like, or at least, not, it doesn't even have to necessarily be super positive music. It just has to be music with purpose. Because technically, Kendrick's album Good Kid, Mad City wasn't super positive the whole thing. Like, he had that skit. He was like, hey, you gonna tell me where your mama stay, your daddy stay, and where your grandma stay? Matter of fact, get out the car, homie.
Nah,
Get out the car for
The thing about it is, it's a story.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. It was a story talking about his experience. You get what I'm saying? But I just also liked, as Kendrick as an artist, he didn't stay in that lane of, I'm just going to be talking about the dirt and the ugly parts. He had like very wide range of albums where he's just talking about his feelings and certain stuff. And it's always been about his experience, but it didn't just feel like it's into a negative light. It was to make music to resonate with people, to sometimes feel seen, and not also that you're just like, whatever you're going through, you're not the only one going through it. It offers a sense of light, because when you're going through stuff like that and you feel alone, it just feels like, it's dark. But when you know other people are going, it gives you hope, because there are other people who here are still going through that stuff, and they are maintaining. Yeah.
I think what you're speaking to, Tosin, is like artists like Kendrick, artists like SZA, even the Afrobeats artists that you like to listen to. Their albums is great production. It has story. It has a storyline. It's well themed. This is great quality music. It's not virality music that's going to hit on TikTok for 15 seconds or hit on another social platform that's just going to get clipped in like 10 seconds, where you're just getting, it's a catchy hook. It's something that's going to live with the person. So I think
you gotta digest it.
Yeah, I think if artists get back to quality formations of great songs to have cohesive albums, I think that is going to that's going to start a new conversation and bring back a widespread of love and ranges of music where you could have a skit like you just explained with Kendrick's album, but then you could have a well-themed album that flows from his childhood to his current feelings to it has a strong base.
And I'm just happy because like I said, there's definitely a wide range of artists in hip hop. Like you already know, and also too, being super positive. Not saying it didn't work for everybody. I mean, it doesn't work in the whatever equation, but sometimes just having super positive music is also just not that good. Like, how much I like the Coloring Book album, but then that whatever that album he made after
The Big Day or something.
Yeah, we can skip that joint for me personally, but yeah.
No, I was gonna say. Wait, Tyler, did you have something you wanted to say? Yeah. Now I was gonna say that I think also too, like when we're talking about just the way a lot of the timeline for this goes too, I feel like what happened with hip hop is that you were able to, I think we talk about like the fetishization of black violence, but also to black male violence. And like when I think America saw that there's a whole economy around being able to promote and like in vast ways, in a variety of ways, to able to promote black violence and black male violence, they hit a gold mine.
I think the one thing that also I hate about it is it paints a picture of our community, of us in general, before a lot of people may see us. No, and that's the main thing, because like remember I was telling you last week about how when we was, when we went to basketball camp, and I told you them kids asked me, yo, do you sell drugs? Are you in a gang? All this other stuff. And I just know that's because they heard I'm from an inner city, I'm black, and I just fit a description. But I'm also like, if you know me, I'm not into any of those things. You get what I'm saying? That's not my identity, and that's the main thing I don't like. I don't want it to be creating an identity for us because people are just ignorant, and I don't pay attention sometimes to white people stuff all the time, but I don't feel threatened by some of the stuff that when I at least through their music, because music is an expression of like us. I don't want that to be the one size fit all identity for us.
Me either, but I do also know that for when you're just talking about black people, it's always going to be easier to stereotype and minimize who we are and our essence, because no one looked at Nirvana and said that's all white youth. Like no one was saying, like, I'm not gonna say no one was saying that, but the grand scheme of it was like, oh, you have Nirvana, you have fucking Bruce Springsteen, you have like white people have always had the privilege of being able to be multiple, to be able to be to be able to have layered identity. Black people have never been able to get that privilege. We've always been boxed in. We've always been having to be seen through one size fit all lens. So.
But it's mainly because we're not controlling the narrative that's like being put on us. So if we're letting other cultures, other people, the people who control these music industries, if we're letting them, paint the picture of what is being black, then like, why would they get it right? First of all, they wouldn't get it right. But second of all, why would they create a positive image of us?
I think also too, like it goes to, because the reason why I know like this stuff is being able to be commodified, because you have certain artists or white artists that come up doing some of the style, and not saying they're getting popular or anything like that. Like there's this like drill rapper from New York called Little Mabu or whatever. And he did a song with Fabio, and it was like, I think How to Do a Drill or some shit like that. Like horrible fucking song. And like someone like Fabio, and I always will I will always preach this to black artists, and I say preach because I'm really serious about it. When you go into these art forms, you have to be extra careful of how you're coming off and how you're presenting to audiences, because you have to understand like this shit is getting played. That's just you're literally being a walking stereotype, and that's been my issue sometimes. I do not like that. I do not like when, and I see it all the time. I felt like the baby was doing it a little bit, like where they start to play into stereotypes, old black stereotypes, and to me that is like a different animal. And it's like, nah, like we gotta break out of that. We gotta be able to show growth. That's why we're not going to stay on this for too long, but I just wanted to say that's why I like this new Schoolboy album, for instance, because
it shows growth.
It shows growth. Like Cube talks about how he was on drugs and how he was, how he was Crip and how he was, on the block like that. He's always talked about that through his music, but now he's talking about like, yo, I'm living a good life. Thank God I'm here. I got my daughter. I feel so good. I've been going through some stuff. Like, that's what the contents of the album is. And I think we need that. We need to continue to see that in hip hop, and also to allow people to grow. Like, allow these people to grow, especially when they come from traumatic and trauma-filled areas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because when I say this stuff, a lot of those artists that I'm actually tired of, it's not so much because, like, whatever their first project is, I usually enjoy hearing their story in the beginning. But listen, you can't give me the same story 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
You need to see
growth.
Get
what I'm saying? Like, and that's I think that's what I'm pushing towards. Like, yo, you had these hard times, and then now it's like, okay, you have a little bit more money now. You have the ability to change certain things in your life. I'm all for, giving people grace and growth, but it's like, you're not about to sit here and think that, all right, this is just what I want. You get what I'm saying? Or this is what because I'm just going to honestly stop listening. And I think, for example, like a Schoolboy album, like that definitely needs to go get like pushed and it needs to be put into more mainstream areas. Like, there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of R&B singers, everybody that represent a different aspect of, the black identity.
And I think
I just quickly wanted to say, I think a key word that's being missing in this whole thing is collaboration. So I see on the R&B side, you can see like a Coco Jones. She has numerous features with like older acts, like a Babyface. The Kenyon Dixon guy who I mentioned earlier, he used to run on a tour with TGT, Tyrese, Tank, and Genuine. So it's man, how to carry yourself, how to be a young lady, how to carry yourself, but it also influences the music as well. So I think, one of Toastin's favorite hip hop artists was Future. What happened if he was getting a lot of his beats and a lot of his influences from Dungeon Family? He's supposed to be connected to Dungeon Family already, because he's supposed to be like extended family from them. What happened if they was influencing that? You see, I mean, I know he got a lot of smut on his jacket, but Dr. Dre was with Kendrick, and how he developed him as an artist. So collaboration, Jay-Z with J. Cole, Lil Wayne, and the whole Cash Money with Drake. So I think collaboration more. The ageism thing is a big thing in hip hop. I think it's a lot of ego as well. So
I think that like all of this coming back to just the idea of wanting more love in our music, and I think there is something to be said about having mainstream rap be more loving, and I think the part of it that we have to understand is that like Black Love doesn't doesn't sell as much. Black Prosperity doesn't sell as much. It doesn't, and I'm talking about for mainstream, and I'm saying that to say this is when artists have to step out and go against the grain and change the narrative and say like, yo, we're not going to be limited and just give people what we want. We want to be more versatile in that.
I don't think necessarily it doesn't sell, it's just that it's not pushed. Like, I think if they dropped it into the market and then just like, no matter what, I feel like there's a lot of things that with either music that when you put it out there and then consistently keep putting it out there, whether people like it or not, they're going to like it. Like a lot of this music before, there was a lot of people that didn't like it and they just play it so much that it's like, all right, well now I'm getting like trained into liking it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, go ahead.
It's funny. I kind of wanted to counter that somewhat because it seems like artists a classification identity was created through their music and it was pushed. They was having high record sales, pushing a certain agenda type of music. But then as they start to not fizzle out, but their record sales start to drop as they became older artists and they had other endeavors like a Jay-Z or a Jeezy. They're by album 10, album 7 or something. Now they're switching the content, and it's like, why couldn't you have switched it before? It's like,
I think that goes to like what I was saying about giving artists time to grow too. Like and it's a journey. I think also too we have to understand that hip hop isn't that old. Like hip hop it just turned 50, but if you're talking about a lot of other other genres, it's still a baby. When it comes to other genres, and just talking about like all of this stuff that's been bringing us, because this music, when we talk about hip hop, we talk about stuff we've been talking about since our childhood. We talking about things that we've been connected to since our childhood. Another thing that we've always connected to through our childhood has been cartoons, has been media, and I think with this new Avatar, Tosin was on the phone. We was talking the other day, and he was talking to me about this new Avatar series that came out. And I know I watched Avatar. I watched it a little bit growing up, but I started to watch more of it as I got older. And when I watched it when I was little, I really didn't get it. But watching it as I got older, I was like, damn, like, I think that kind of goes into what you were saying a little bit about sometimes when you put certain things out there, people could resonate with it, and they may not understand it at the time, but they could resonate with it. And I think like Avatar was able to do that. But what did you think about the new series that came out?
Before we get into that, I just want to commend you on how masterful your transitions are becoming.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I was like, damn.
Thank you.
Spitting. Nah, but I don't know where to start. So the Avatar, the Last Airbender, the whatever just dropped on Netflix. I'm just gonna say we're not gonna make this about that podcast, but if you do watch it, it's very mixed up. Just come with a new mindset right now on that one. But I will say I think the main reason I be feeling like with Avatar growing up, especially just being a millennial, if you was anybody like just sitting in the house watching Nickelodeon and watching the ideas behind Avatar, and also then watching again as you get older, it's like between the character development, the themes and motifs about it, especially growing up, when you look at some of those things, they're very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I don't know if you can help me here, but
wisdom.
Yeah, it's a very insightful wisdom, and like for me personally, and I'm just gonna talk to my personal experience, right? Growing up without a father, right, and seeing and listening to certain and watching the dynamic between a character like Zuko and Uncle Iroh was very needed in my time in my life, because he's like what you call a comfort character.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Especially Uncle Iroh, you get what I'm saying? And watching like how he teaches and it's like it's almost like I was telling you, Sean, it's like he's like a cartoon version of freaking Uncle Phil right now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Okay. And like just teaching how he teaches and stays behind, it's really like shows you the idea of like fatherhood and a masculinity and how it's the dynamic of both. And outside of that, this is just mad, like I'm a history person, like Japanese ideals and even just how they be fighting and all that stuff. That's what really caught me, that like for example when they talk about waterbending, that's them doing Tai Chi. It's really based off out of Tai Chi, which is actual martial arts form. You get what I'm saying? But
I know Avatar, for a little bit of it, people used to kind of have a debate about it because it's not technically an anime.
I don't know how. I mean, that joke is not an anime because Japanese people ain't make it.
Yeah, but for real, that's
literally why. But I don't know how y'all felt growing up, or if you watched Avatar as an adult and actually started to really like, I was looking at some and I was like, they said Uncle Iroh taught me more things about life than any of my family or teachers. I'm like, he got a point.
He used to be spitting.
He definitely do be spitting, and it was just like, it was like amazing to see this because in our day and age, they don't really make cartoons, let me not say that. I haven't seen too many cartoons that actually help you, that are actually built to depict the struggles of like life. And not necessarily, and even though it may be exaggerated, there's a level of relatability to it. You get what I'm saying? A deeper level of relatability to it.
I think like, saying that is kind of like the same thing as, well, I'm not gonna say it's the same thing, but I would say saying that I can't necessarily say that about cartoons today because I'm a grown ass man. I don't really,
that's what I was saying. I haven't seen.
I don't be watching. I don't watch Netflix. I mean Netflix. I don't watch Nickelodeon no more. I'm not on Disney Channel or Cartoon Network looking at what they got on there. So they actually may be cartoons, but I ain't gonna
hold you. Craig of the Creek hit.
I literally have no idea what you just said.
I'll be watching it with the niece and nephews.
but no, like when you're talking about like Avatar, I did like there was like pinpoint moments that I saw that I was like, oh damn, like that's actually a bar and that's actually something that like impacted me. Like for me, I would say like one of my favorite moments from that whole series was literally when Zuko was going through everything. Zuko was going through everything that he was going through, and he had basically betrayed his uncle. He had betrayed his uncle, and his uncle was in prison. They ended up finding a way to get back, and he had to go face his uncle, and he was ashamed because he's like, damn, like I basically like kind of gave you up, for to try to fulfill something that I thought was my destiny, or to fulfill a part of. I felt like that part of it was like I I gave up. I betrayed you to fulfill what I thought like my masculinity, like part of my masculinity was supposed to be.
And definitely, I think one of the main things was with that Zuko theme is the internal struggle of him as a man, because his father represented like a dark masculinity, but his uncle represented a positive masculinity in the sense that Zuko always wanted to please his father. His father knew that, so his father always used to use what he want. You know, a child, he would manipulate.
Manipulate.
Yeah, bro. Just say the word in your head first, and then say it,
and just then come out.
Because I ain't gonna hold you. They gonna think you illiterate.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Like, who is this
country bumpkin?
This muffin mouth.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, but yeah, I was just saying that
it's like I can't open my fucking mouth. It's like, I don't know. It's like when your tongue feel heavy or something.
I ain't gonna just let him finish. That was kind of crazy. But go ahead.
Nah, but anyway.
Yo.
So like I said, I think that's what I'm saying. His father, because he, and it's funny. Remember when we read Way Superior Man? It said you have to live like as if your father didn't exist, or not didn't exist, or wasn't alive, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's a good, because he's trying to embed his purpose with what his father may want.
Yeah.
And it's mad times where it's like the father, where he says certain things. It was like, Uncle Iroh was like, you have to decide what you want. Who asked the reception? Oh, this is some real questions, because like, you know, even me, I always be asking like, damn, what my dad, what my this, but it's like ultimately, yo, this is my life. You get what I'm saying? And trying to live within a path that's not yours will have you in despair. You get what I'm saying?
Dude.
So that was definitely, huh? Oh, I definitely got a clip. I was actually pulling it up. But I was gonna pull up the part that you was talking about.
Yeah, no. For me, I thought that like actually like that part of the series when he went back and like went to go tell like Uncle Iroh that he was, you know, he was sorry and everything, and then he just literally, instead of him having to go through it, he gave him love.
Yeah, no, for real.
And to me that shows the power of, you know, sometimes like a father figure giving you grace and giving you love in a moment where you feel shame.
But also just having like a true father to the meeting, in the sense that like, yo, through your mistakes, you know, I'm gonna always be there to support you. Oh, my bad, I'm trying to pull this thing up.
No, you're good. No, but to me, I think that's important, because I think like, especially like, I think in masculinity and manhood, there's a lot of, I'm not gonna say this is not just generalized to masculinity, because I know that women go through this as well, but I know in masculinity there's a specific part of it where a lot of the experience comes with you having these moments of feeling unworthy. You these feelings of feeling like I'm not adding up to what I'm supposed to be, and these constant, you know, I think men are kind of taught to be very self-critical of themselves. And they're not taught really how to give grace to themselves. They're not taught how to be kind to themselves. It's kind of this process of, for men coming into the world, you try to find ways to harden yourself, and a lot of times you're able to help you kind of navigate through life, but you're not able to like really live life fully. You know, there's a lot of just navigating instead of actually like experiencing and engaging with life.
It's funny. This is one part where he was saying this, and I kind of goes in line with what you was just saying. Hold on.
You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road, and you surrender to your lowest instincts in the darkest times. Hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
There be lines like that from that joint I will never forget.
Yo, I swear, that shit reminded me of this, going back to hip hop and like meaningful bars and stuff like that. It's this artist I listen to named Navy Blue, and he has a line where he says, it's just simple. He says, "Can't nobody hand you hope." And like, to me, when I hear stuff like that, it's like, yo, like, that's stuff that men need to hear. That's stuff that you have to hear. And also too, like giving yourself that, like, I think for men, it's just a lot of lack in self-care. Like a lot of, and I'm talking about like internal emotional care. Like men just aren't given the tools for that.
And I think also it's direction. I think that's the main thing, because we don't have a lot of men being like, we have a lot of boys who grow up throughout life and just think that just because they're, you know, a guy, that they're a man, or that, you know, biologically or you know, they got some shit between their legs, that they're a man. You get what I'm saying? And like, we don't have a lot of fellow men like really guiding and being the bumper to certain stuff in our life. Like, I got one more part that was tough.
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
That was a short one, but like I told you, like, even I had to sit here, like, because I watched Avatar: The Airbender when I was adult through pandemic, and I was sitting here and like thinking, I'm like, damn, this is like, because he was like, yeah, about how pride is not the opposite of shame, even it's a source. And I was just had to sit here and think about it. It's because sometimes we so stuck in our pride about like who we are, like, this is who I am, and when we don't hit these, you know, benchmarks and ideas and standards, we feel shame after. We feel like because we're not this mold of a person, that we're not, or this mold of a man, that we're not a man at all. You get what I'm saying? And that's when you have shame. Shame is like really just being down about who you are, who you are as a person. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, that's just definitely like, you know, one of those lessons that, you know, you stick with as far as like me growing up as an adult. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, these certain characters like this, they really helped, like, in little ways, in actually massive ways, I'll say, to guide me into, you know, a lane where I want to be. You get what I'm saying?
No. It's crazy because I've never really been big on Avatar, but
you should go back and watch.
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys
the cartoon, not that real live action shit.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you guys are definitely giving me reason to tap in, because shoot, I talk about me watching A Different World. I wasn't, as a little kid, I wasn't really big or into it like that. But as I grew older and we was in college and stuff, it made me really internalize it, and it the relatability at that point.
A Good World was really good too.
Huh?
I said
Different World.
A Different World was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah, but, and it's funny, I'm about to even get, it's so many things that this Avatar joint touch on. That's my thing. It'd be like, the thing about it is, he'll, like, even Uncle Iroh said another shit in that shit. He was like, yo, you have to learn how to take like knowledge from different places. If you keep taking it from one spot, it becomes stale. It's about taking this story that really doesn't apply to anyone, because let's be real, nobody here is firebenders, nobody here is waterbenders, earthbenders, airbenders, none of that stuff, right? But I think that's what makes it easy that's what makes it easy for you to take what really applies to you, because it's now even playing ground for everybody to look at when you're looking at like a, you know, a fantasy show like this, because now we're looking at the, I guess, intangibles in the sense of like the obviously the physical stuff we're not related to, but there's like, all right, there's a father, or there's an uncle, there's an estranged relationship between a father and his son and uncle as well. There's a boy, you could look at it as freaking Aang, trying to rapidly grow fast after experiencing, you know, great trauma. And we didn't really get into Aang's character development as well, and just how it is to be a boy and have to grow up fast and have the weight of the world as far as responsibilities just dropped into your life. Because there's so many kids that we know, you know, especially like young guys, you know, you hear that, you know, they lost their moms, they lost their father, and now they have to take care of this person.
This
take
idea
care,
of you
this,
have to be a man in the house.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a relatable story in the sense that now, you know, you have to sometimes preserve your, like, certain parts of you while also still growing in the same sense and having a level of maturity about, you know, just certain things. You know, overall, everybody, like, that whole show in a sense is just about growth and but also understanding who you are into that growth. And it's like so many themes and motifs that I'll be like really wanting to go deep delve. Who knows? We might do a Patreon about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But like I said, like, I could go in all day about it because I have literally thought, like, yo, at this point, I'm not gonna lie to you, they should have a class about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, they should.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
No,
such a good show, bro.
nigga reminiscing.
Nah, bro, because honestly, I remember exactly where I was when I watched the very last episode.
Where?
I was sitting in the living room. Funny enough, Doom was having a party in the backyard.
What the hell?
Bro, I was like, damn, they niggas playing music loud as shit. It was like, y'all don't know? Ain't got to defeat the Fire Lord today, bruh.
The finale on.
Word, what's wrong with y'all?
No, but I think and just to close out this topic, I just wanted to leave off on this. I think Aang's kind of, I would say his storyline is kind of like, it parallels with, I think, like a lot of black youth too, like young black boys, and how for a lot of young black boys, by the time they reach a certain age, they're not seen as like kids anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think you were talking about preserving, like being able to preserve parts of yourself, and I feel like a lot of young black boys aren't given that space to grow, and then at a certain age, they're already the adult process and viewing them as adults has already started. You know, you see stuff like that with Tamir Rice, where you know, a 12-year-old, someone couldn't tell, they thought it was a grown man, and he's freaking 12 years old. But how many times did that happen to black youth, and how, you know, like you said, like the weight of the world is kind of placed on them to be
so many things,
to be patriarchs of their family, to be the ones that pull their families out of the gutters and stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff has changed now due to just, you know, a black woman coming up in the workforce and just women gaining more independence. But sometimes those same expectations being placed on men in a world that isn't really giving them any outs.
Yeah, and I think one last theme I think I took from that joint was to, as far as Aang's character, just one major thing is, don't let a cruel world ruin your kind heart.
I see I'm rubbing off on you.
Shut your mouth.
No, I'm saying the fact that you couldn't speak for a little bit.
I mean, that's different. You've been wilding all episode. I messed up on one word.
Manipulation.
I never
No,
that was you. I was about to say I know how to say manipulation.
Deems is Eldris. Like,
nah, but yeah, I think that was the main thing when I said Aang's character, like, don't let a cruel world what's it called? A cruel world ruin your kind heart. Because it was like he was in the midst of a war at 12 years old after getting out of an ice, and through it to the very end, he met his, you know, when you look at, they say about the airbenders, they're very not down about killing people. Even though every avatar before him was with the shits.
Yeah.
Like, they was murking niggas. I'm not going to lie to you. But he said he not going to do that, and he found his own way. Now, I'm not saying it's definitely always going to be, it's definitely still a cartoon, but in the end, he ended up taking the dude's firebending ability away. He couldn't do shit, so it's like, yeah.
Man, I think all of this stuff is just, like, really important for just growth, and just all of this stuff has kind of contributed to the redefining the ways, and I think Avatar was really good in, like, kind of redefining the ways in which we view and kind of engage with our own masculinity.
Yeah, I think my bad. I think it was just another outlet to, you know, take perspective on the world, and then, you know, take what you can and move into and apply it to how you can. Cause I was like, damn, bro, one thing I was upset when I was young. I was like, damn, bro, so I ain't never gonna be able to fire bend.
You was literally mad about that?
I was mad as shit. I'm still mad. Wait, I know this is like a real side question, but if you had to pick one, which one would you be? Firebender, airbender, or waterbender? Actually, we're gonna go through the line.
Honestly, that's hilarious though. But I'm trying to think. I'll probably do air.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably do air.
Not mad at that.
What about you?
I haven't watched the show enough, but
Bro, pick fire, earth, and wind.
Can I speak, please? Thank you. You talked enough. But yeah. So I guess just off the top of my head, I'll go water.
Fluid.
What about you, Ty?
This childish ass question. I'm already a firebender, man.
How you gonna call it childish and then say you're alright?
Some of us experience these elements in our daily life.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Wow, you're hilarious.
You actually
wait,
know.
you just caught on to it?
Yeah, I did. I'm
Not
Sean.
but that mean really you're a waterbender because you put the fire out.
No,
combination.
I'm a firebender because I know how to manipulate the fire.
No,
I was about to say, I thought you were gonna be like,
all you there for is to put the fire out with what? A hose that shoots out water.
But you can manipulate fire with air. You can manipulate it with water.
So you an airbender then?
No. If you're manipulating fire, you're
I understand where you
firebender.
tried to go. Just say you wanted to be a firebender. You don't manipulate fire now.
I thought Todd was about to be like, man, this childish ass question. You know I'm an Avatar.
Nah, listen, I would say I'd definitely be a firebender, only from the strength that like.
You want to be bad?
No, not even. Yeah, I want to burn on my right eye. Like,
you think he's such a bad boy?
nah, only from the strength that like I'm gonna be real with you. You gotta bend water. You actually need water around you to bend that shit, and then air is. I mean, not air. Air is cool. It's whatever though. And then
there's earthbenders too, right?
But that same thing with earth. There actually has to be earth around your ass.
I mean, you live on Earth, nigga.
Nigga, I ain't gonna hold you though. There's been mad situations them niggas could not bend no fucking earth. Like they was in the middle of water and could not do shit. They was on a ship, couldn't do shit. You remember when they had all them little slave earthbenders?
Oh yeah, true.
I was like, damn, y'all niggas assed out because y'all on the boat.
But it's such a strange concept though, because fire literally needs air in order to survive.
Yeah.
So out of all of those, and it honestly needs earth too, because you need a fuel source. So,
No, but that's what I'm saying. With them firebenders, they ain't need no fuel source. They should just shooting them shit.
No, but their fuel source was
they
from
got that
within.
dog in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the point. So if we really speaking, honestly, out of all of those, like water probably is the strongest.
I ain't gonna hold you. That shit was tough when she started bloodbending that nigga.
Yeah, no,
that shit was actually kind of scary a little bit.
That's really weird. That's actually terrifying.
Word, that shit was it was actually mad evil. I was like, damn, that shit was crazy.
At the end of the day, Avatar literally a stepping stone in.
It's a millennial classic.
No, it is. It's triple platinum for millennials. Honestly, it deserves all the flowers.
And Tosin and Sean, forgive me for not doing the signs. I will tap in.
Yes, no,
I definitely think that that shit is a good show for you to watch.
But
on another note, yo, this dude, I swear I was about to call him Uncle Shay Shay, and I'm just like,
we would have turned that camera.
I would have been like,
oh, nigga, you got an uncle yourself. Whoever called no nigga uncle. No, but Shannon Sharp has been going nuts, but he just had a recent interview with Terry Crews, and it was really, really dope. He was talking about a bunch of different things, and it was kind of like it. All of these things that we've been talking about throughout this episode kind of relate, and men talking about their experiences navigating and through life and purpose, and he was just going through some of the things that he was going through through going from the NFL to trying to act and everything, and just getting caught up in a lot of different things. But I know like a really big part of what he was talking about, and just on a more serious note, you know, I remember when he got into that whole incident when he had gotten groped by that executive, and I remember the kind of the response to it, and I just kind of wanted to play a clip from what he was talking about when he was just going through that whole experience. So I'm about to play the clip now. Give me 1 second.
And
if it hadn't happened to me and I heard it, I'd have been like, man, what is this dude talking about? That's why I never got mad. I couldn't get mad at people going, man, what are you doing, man? Big ass Terry Crews. Right. But see, I'd already been through probably 8 years of therapy, me and my wife rebuilding, me understanding what true power was, me understanding that it wasn't about how hard you see, you gotta understand in the NFL, road rage works. That works. But in real life, go to jail. Real life, hey man, you do what you did on the NFL football field, you do what you did in MMA, you going to jail, straight to jail. Right. Jail full.
And that's another part of it.
It's because my wife was right there. And I remember we went home and I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, I can't believe this. She said, Terry. You said, ain't a woman in your life ain't been through that shit. Okay. And she said, now what you gonna do? He said, because we can't fight our way throughout this stuff.
And just throughout that whole clip, he talks about a number of different things, and just with everything going on, also too in the news right now, I thought that clip was kind of important because, and this is like I said, for any of our viewers that's ever been through anything like sexual assault or you know, anything of that nature, I would always tell them and advise them to, if you can, let a family member know or go to therapy if you have that available to you, because that is something that is all too prevalent in our communities. But going and talking about it from the men's side, that is something that is not really talked about at all, and really even given words or real commentary on, because it's such a taboo subject to talk about, especially when you talk about that happening to you from another man, and just how power and him talking about just like learning what true power is, and when people feel like they have control over you. And I'm circling all of this around to just have a conversation more about how these things are difficult because of how we're taught to engage with our masculinity. These things are hard to talk about because of how we're taught to internalize and not make these things big. When it happens to men, it's something that's not when it happens to men by men, it's something that's never talked about, but we at least have a idea that is something that's horrible. But when it happens and the perpetrator is a woman, a lot of men brush that off. And I know countless men that talk about having that experience with another woman and not being able to really engage with the fact that they were victimized, you know. And I think that's a big part. That's a big part of, I think, the flaw in how we're taught or we're socialized to engage with our masculinity, is that we're taught we can't be victims, you know. And that, especially if you're talking about black men, a lot of times it's like you are victimizer, you're not able to be victimized, you know. You're only the perpetrator, you cannot be the one that is getting abused. And I think this Terry Crews situation was one of those situations that kind of opened my eyes into like, people in general don't view black men as victims, but I think a lot of black men don't also see themselves as victims when things like that happen. And I just thought that was something to kind of get our thoughts on, like ways in which in healthier ways we can engage with our masculinity when it comes to these things.
I think that first we have to have a conversation about like real masculinity, because when he talked about like not fighting himself out of that situation, you know, not just approaching it with anger and just, you know, seeing red versus really being mature and, you know, considering his family, considering his career, considering, you know, his responsibilities in life. You know, I feel like that's an underrated part of being a man, you know, being considerate outside of yourself, you know. So even if he wanted to just, you know, kill that dude or something, it's like,
it was a dude or a woman?
It was another man.
Okay.
Like, even if he wanted to, you know, really hurt that guy, it's like, I gotta think about my wife. I gotta think about my children. I gotta think about my family. You know, I gotta think about the fact that I provide for everybody. So I even commend him from that aspect of not just putting himself first and like letting his emotions get the better of him in that moment. But I think as men, we have to have a conversation with ourselves really regarding what is masculinity, because the way things are now, a man can't even share an experience like that to other men and his sexuality be questioned, or, you know, oh, well, why you ain't just kill that dude? See, if that was me, oh, nah, bro, I would have been killed, bro. I would have hurt him. Like, nah, I'll be in jail right now. You know, it's like all of these ideas we have that kind of spoke to what you focused on earlier, Sean. You know, just the idea of like, we have to remain tough. You know, we have to remain where we're always, like, the emotions, basically, like, you succumb to your emotional side, you know, and that's something that we have to really address, because that doesn't really take away from who you are as a person. You know, if you've endured traumatic experiences, you know, we need to create a space where men can speak on those things and not be questioned, you know, not, you know, their friends think differently of them, or like society think differently of them.
I wanted to like speak to something that you were saying too. And I think that that's another part of it that, you know, we kind of don't understand in the way that we're thinking and the way that we're socialized. Because, you know, when I hear him talking about how he's thinking about everybody else, I'm like, damn, like, that's really what a lot of this is when it comes to masculinity. You get victimized and you're not even thinking about yourself. You thinking about everybody else but yourself. And it's like, you know, it's like, damn, if I do this, my kids, but it's like, dude, like, you just got victimized. And, you know, for the situation with Terry Crews, that's something when someone's doing something to you in public, you know, there could be witnesses and stuff like that. What happens when there's no witnesses around? What happens when there's nobody there? And I just think, like, you know, listening to you talk about that, I think that's also to how, you know, a lot of times, and I'm not saying to say that it's just men, but I'm talking about specifically very unique experiences that men have that are specific to men that they go through when it comes to navigating their times in which they have been victimized.
But I think the main thing that he's kind of dealing with, and that's not necessarily just, I mean, it is external, but when all this stuff happens, you know, you have to, your responsibilities as a man just don't disappear. Like, you saying this stuff for his family, and I can only imagine, like, damn, this stuff has happened, this thing just happened, but I still gotta, like, get up, go pay the bills, keep get every day, keep moving. I'm not saying that, like, it definitely doesn't happen with women, but I'm looking at Terry Crews as being, like, you know, the breadwinner in his home. You get what I'm saying? I may be wrong, I don't know, but when you're in that kind of space, it becomes such a delicate thing. And now the perception of himself, especially to his kids, no matter what, is always going to be important. Maybe not to the rest of the world, but, like, you know, how as a man you just think it's like, damn, what are my kids going to think, is part of, like, your own mental space. You get what I'm saying? Because you know, your kids are what's the word, you know, I don't know why I can't remember this word, but they're another part of you. They're you outside of your life, extension of yourself. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, we raise our kids so that they can thrive, and, you know, something happens to their father that also has a psychological effect on them as well. And I think that's something that plays into your masculinity as a whole, and that's why it becomes such a tricky factor. I think we do need to expand the range of, you know, our, I guess, weaknesses as men. You get what I'm saying? For us, it feel like we could only be but so weak. You get what I'm saying? Whereas, you know, sometimes, you know, women, and like I do feel like there's like a wide range of women can be like have a super low space, super high space, and it's like the, you know, the range of what they can be is sometimes like wider in a sense as far as like vulnerability. You get what I'm saying? I think that's more what I'm talking about as far as the range.
So
go ahead, Quan.
I was going to say one thing that I took from the clip that you shared was he talked about like which I'm a big proponent of is therapy. His 8 years of therapy, which led him to this. He was saying how prior he if like he would result to like physical violence, like fighting and stuff, and how it goes to the point of him being strategic and actually thinking about his family. I think you know, therapy, it helps you flush out, it calms you, it gives you a sense of direction, and it shows you like how to handle things through words and expressing your emotions. So back to what Sean was talking about is if you have ever experienced anything like this, or if you know of anybody who's experienced anything like this, talk to them and advocate for some type of therapy if they will be willing to you know, speak on these situations, or if they even have it available to themselves.
And be like you know, be a point of grace and a point of affirming them, because, you know, a lot of times I know from just hearing people's experiences that when those things happen, even though you're the one that's getting victimized, that you go through a whole you start to question yourself, you know. And I know for as many like he said, his wife iterated to him that there's not a woman that you know that hasn't been through this, and that's true. You know, you know, a lot of like women in it, when it comes to like sexual assault or being violent and stuff like that, they know what it is like to have unwanted attention drawn to them. They know what it's like to be able to go through those things. But I think because it's something that is very prevalent, and it's something that I think we can conceptualize, and we've seen it, and we've, as a society, have said like, this thing is bad, you know, and we should talk about how bad it is. I think for a lot of men, and just not just this, but I feel like a lot of the stuff we were talking about in this episode, there hasn't been a real emphasis to truly dissect men as far as like the way in which we think, you know, especially because we're kind of seen as like, you know, in many faces, like the default, and like on the ways in which we're supposed to navigate. And when it comes to how men are supposed to navigate, we're supposed to be stoic. We're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to like put our heads down, work, and just get the job done.
They just created like an almost impossible mold of what a man is.
No, and I think like that's the part of it that's why I'm very like adamant on rebelling against like conventional ways of viewing masculinity, and I'm all for having more nuanced ways in engaging with it, because so many times when these things happen, I think I've said it in other episodes, you find men having to literally chop off huge parts of their humanity to try to fit into. It's like you're this wide expression of a person, but you literally have to cut parts of yourself down to fit in the box of what society has drawn out for you.
I mean, I think it's important to use humanity as a as a standard of to
a barometer.
What, yeah, parameter as
that's
to
a
what.
barometer, but
you've been wilding.
No, that's
actually a real word.
Yeah, that's a
barometer.
Barometer.
Oh, barometer. Sorry, I thought you said I was saying parameter, but I mean, I guess it kind of
tomato.
Yeah. Nah, but I think we need to use humanity, not like or happens to like if as a person, how would you feel? And not like
yes,
you know what I'm saying. Yes. I think and because sometimes when you hear certain stories, and if you hear it without the pronouns, it's like, damn, that's crazy. And even it's funny, even for a quick second too, when you was saying the story in the beginning, because I really wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman, and I thought when you said at first it was a woman who did it, I was like, damn, that's crazy. And then I felt the wild part in my head, because I guess I've just been so conditioned, is when I actually clarified and you said, yo, it was a man, I actually was like a little bit more. I felt like, damn, I felt like the damn happened twice in my head. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So I think we do definitely need to have like we need to use the parameter of humanity as like what's right and wrong and how certain things should feel, and then you can take into account now masculinity. You get what I'm saying? Cause
I think that's a really good way to view it.
Obviously, I definitely do. It's like, cause I do be looking, I'm like, it just, I don't know, it's just some kind of sad, cause I'm just like, damn, like, it becomes scary, because I'm like, yo, even a dude like Terry Crews could get, this could happen to, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's really not about just physical strength. It's just like some people have money and can control certain things in your life. Yeah. That it's like, it's man or woman.
Oh, you about to say something?
No, because I want to say the guy, I looked into it. The guy who the executive producer was, his name was Adam. I think it's pronounced Lenit. If I'm butchering it, I don't care.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him, bro. But anyway, he was executive producer for the talent agency WME, and it's just so powerful. Like, they have different sports, different entertainers that they represent. So his money and his influence within that, and just the talent industry that he represented, that was representing him, it was a very big figurehead. So I just also just want to give it up to Terry Crews once again. Like, it's really respectable and honorable what he did. So,
and I think to leave off on this point, I think that's really important. And when I read those things and I think about it like that, a lot of something like this happening to Terry Crews, I mean, what you think is happening to, a woman that is probably 1/10 of his size, and how that works, and how money and power and how people can literally create parameters around where you can operate within, and you have to just kind of suck it up and go back to work the next day. And it's like, nah, like, and I think just to go into this point, I think I was going in all of this because I was transitioning into what's been going on in the news with Diddy right now, and how crazy that whole situation is. So when it comes to just the whole Diddy situation, I feel like this is another situation that we're seeing where I've been seeing so much of the response being about, oh, is Diddy gay? Is Diddy bisexual? Oh, Diddy sleeping with men? And it's like, do y'all not hear like what the lawsuit is about? Like, do y'all not take into account that they're talking about this dude literally being a predator and like, harassing men? But I think a lot of that goes into like what we were talking about just previously in the Terry Crews segment, when we were saying like, yo, man, like, just generally people don't view men as being able to be victims. And when things or moments of harassment happen to them, they're just kind of just seen as like, damn, like, that's crazy, bro. Just walk that shit off, man, and just it's gonna be alright. It's like, yo, like, no, there's no real empathy given. And I think with this Diddy thing, man, it really needs to be had about the unhealthy power dynamics that happen in hip hop, or I think more on a broad level, just the entertainment business as a whole. and I think in this, just talking about what does this mean for hip hop, and I think it's just it's going to be a conversation. It's definitely a conversation. This whole Diddy thing is really, really crazy. If I feel like where there is a goddamn city full of smoke, there's absolutely fire there, because people have been talking about Diddy for years and some of the things he's done. And to me, I really didn't care when they were just talking about, you know, him, you know, being with men or having like certain kinds of parties or whatever. Look, man, it is what it is. You got money, you got ways to be able to get people that want to have sex at a party. Hey, look, bro.
If that's how you get down, that's how you get down.
I don't yuck nobody yums.
Just let it be consensual.
Yeah,
and of age.
And that is my definitely both of those things. Paying money, being involved, paying people off. It's like, nah, like we starting to get into a territory that is like extremely toxic and like hazardous when it comes to like working in. And I think if anything, if one of these things that Diddy did was what came out to be true, then I'm off, cause like I'm not rocking with that.
But back to as it relates to hip hop, personally, I just feel like I don't think it should be as big as Diddy is. I don't want it to be a representation of, okay, this is hip hop, or you get what I'm saying. Like, I want it to be a bump in the road for hip hop, because as big as Diddy is, bro, hip hop is still hip hop. I don't want. I just feel as though like we're having this whole thing of, oh, this happened to Diddy, dang, what is gonna happen? What does this mean for hip hop? What is this? And I'm like, yo, as important as he is, hip hop is bigger than one person. And I know it's a lot tied to him, and I get that, but it's like there are a lot of like rock culture, all that stuff, rock culture, whether it be jazz. There's a lot of bumps in the roads, but none of it ties to like, yo, this is one person. The beauty of the art craft and the culture is still the beauty. It's still that beauty. You know what I'm saying?
Like Diddy doesn't define.
Yeah,
hip-hop.
he doesn't define he doesn't define hip hop, and I don't want that to be the narrative of what's going on as far as like that, because it's just like I said, I don't want that to be that identity. Like I said, I may not listen to hip hop as much, but I'm very much more like a hip hop person. You get what I'm saying?
I wanted to say this just real quick. No, I don't think that, and I agree to the point of that hip hop is bigger than Diddy, and I do agree with that. I do think that it is. I would hope that this sparks and gives men more space to come out when powerful, because you think Diddy's the only one that's done something like this. You think that Diddy's the only one that's been victimizing other men in the industry, like, and it's women coming out too as well. Women have been talking about this happening in the industry.
Men, all that.
Yeah, have been talking about this happening for years. So this is nothing new. But I think when we're talking about it from a man's perspective, it is a bit new. And I do think that this Diddy situation should be a catalyst for more men to come out and say like, hey, like this happened to me. Especially I think men are a lot more they're a lot more enthusiastic sometimes. I don't want to say enthusiastic, but it's easier for them to talk about it when it happened with a woman. But when it's happening with a man, or they've been victimized by a man, you almost never hear about anything like that. And I think that I would hope that this Diddy situation could be a catalyst to give men the space to say like, hey, you're worth it. You're worth coming out and telling your story.
Yeah, so it's so sad. Like, I remember hearing stories about Russell Simmons and how like the abuse that he had within the culture, and the people he negatively impacted. Him being from Def Jam, and then Chris Stokes with B2K.
Wait, did those actually like? Has he been like prosecuted and anything for like that?
He hasn't, but he ran and went to Bali.
Yeah, he ran and went to Bali.
But that's what I'm saying. Was he prosecuted? You might, because I'm saying you might not want to, just for safety, you might not want to be saying things like that because that's like a defamation of character type of thing. And especially if he hasn't been prosecuted or anything like that.
You've been paying people off for years for doing that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I've heard. No, I get what you're saying, but also too, I think Russell going off to Bali and not fighting any of these cases, I just. To me, it just doesn't.
It looks very sketchy.
It looks very sketchy, and when you have like almost like 10 plus, 15 plus, people
allegations, like
people coming out to say like you've done this specific thing.
Yeah, I know. I just like you said, better safe than sorry. I know. I'm not trying to even be that person, and I do want to speak on things that's actually happening, but you don't want to get caught in a legal situation. And I'm not saying we're even that important to get caught in something, but you get what I'm saying? It's different when Diddy, who's getting actually prosecuted and people are suing and coming out, versus a Russell who's not. Like, I don't know. Are there open cases? For sure.
People have
come out. Are there
people
open
have
cases?
come out, and I think people have actually come. I think the people have went to go press charges against Russell Simmons.
He's done plenty of playouts.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
Not even just that though, but like I said, like he's not here. He's in Bali. Like he's living out in Bali.
But to my point, I was just saying. So Diddy with Bad Boy and his influence on R&B, his influence in hip hop. I think, granted, like the music is great and stuff like that, but you also got to look in the soul of these people. Like, come out when things happen to you. Speak on these things. Like, don't hold it in. I know we're speaking from a man's perspective, and we hold on to this, type sort of bravado that we're supposed to carry. But these type of heinous acts and countless acts that's been happening it just needs to be eliminated. And it just needs to be spoken on.
And I want to say too, to that point, I would always hope that people would come out exactly when things happen, but I know that that's also too not always the reality.
Yeah,
like I know that's always like
it's very hard because coming out changes your whole life.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially when you're talking about like powerful people,
not even just powerful people. Just look at social media. Like people will come in like, "How dare you? He would never do this." And I'm like, if this is coming from people that you don't even know, but now you're the center of attention from not like people just like those people, like also those people's supporters.
Also too, like a lot of times people don't understand like the legal part of it as well.
Yeah,
like, you actually have to go through with filing the report, letting someone know,
going to court,
having to like you're constantly kind of having to relive the trauma instead of just being able to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna say anything and I'm just gonna like deal with it on my own. A lot of times that's easier.
I had a random thought, and I just don't want to get killed for this, but I was over here thinking randomly about this whole Diddy situation. I'm just like, okay, the Epstein thing happened, right? And then now it's Diddy. But and I'm just like, and like I said, Diddy, if all this stuff is true, drop the prison on him. But like I said, I was thinking about how, like, and not to be a conspiracy theorist, like, okay, with the Epstein thing happen, it seems like now it's like, all right, we're gonna now put Diddy into the, like, whenever one thing happens to one culture, and now in the opposite culture is like, okay, now between Epstein was Diddy. Back then, I was also thinking about how when the Harvey Weinstein thing happened, they went to Cosby, and then there's also R. Kelly. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not to be the conspiracy theorist, and I'm not trying to, in a sense, belittle anything that happened. But I also do be feeling like these things be happening, and it's like, I think some of these things they keep, like, they know all these, like, whoever's in charge or the authority or whatever it may be, they know these things happen, right? They keep it under wraps until they need it to put it back out there, or they need it to in a sense. Like, I was talking to somebody and it was like, yeah, to not, what's the word? Keep the playing field can't be even in a sense, because that's what I was talking about when you saying, yo, don't attach this to hip hop culture. This isn't hip hop culture. This is something a single person did that's within hip hop.
What YouTube rabbit hole video you was watching?
Huh?
I said what YouTube rabbit hole video you just watching?
No.
Oh, you wasn't.
No,
Oh, you wasn't. Oh, okay. It seemed like it seemed like you was going through that down there.
The conspiracy thing.
Nah, I wasn't. I just be also like thinking it's just like I'm just looking at it and I'm seeing them like, all right. Every time they might get like some famous white person, it's like, now it's time to go get a black person. And not saying that's what exactly is going on, but I also just be like, yeah, y'all knew, like everybody. Like here's my thing. A lot of people knew about Diddy for a long time. Just like a lot of people knew about R. Kelly for a long time. It's like,
I think like it's kind of like the similar thing when it comes to big ass drug bust. Like they say like, well, damn, like why don't you just arrest him now? It's like, wait, we're building the case. And I think like what happens with these things over time, like, one or two accusations. Now you have people actually trying to see other people that possibly do have similar stories. So I think it's just, I don't necessarily think, I get where you're coming from, but I necessarily think it's just a matter of cases being built and stories starting to come out. And actually, once you have that first person, which was, all this stuff happened because Cassie came out. Mm-hmm. Like, Cassie was the snowball effect for all of this. She spawned all of this. So, like, from her, everybody, because she came out, which I give, a lot of credit to her to do that, because one time a very high profile relationship, and to come out about that is like, that's saying something. So I want to give her all her flowers for that, and give her as many blessings on the journey she's going from healing from all of this. So, but with that being said, I just think it's just a matter of just a case being built over time. So,
we're peace and love to all the victims and stuff like that, and prayers and healing and all those things that are people that are going through those situations. Because I can't even sit here like I'm gonna act and talk and understand what y'all going through, but all I can do is just wish well and prayers.
And I want to say too, like, I think just a bit of like self-awareness with all of this. Like, we definitely understand that it goes beyond just us talking on a microphone on a podcast, just saying something. But I think what is important for everybody is, whatever your lane is, work within your lane to bring these things to light. We're a podcast. We talk about dumb shit all the time on here. We talk about the most randomest shit that we could think of. And, we have, because we have these microphones, we have a little bit of, we're carving out a space, we're carving out a lane, and we're like, if we have space to, give humanity to, a lot of this is about giving humanity in the full spectrum and a full viewpoint on masculinity, but also to giving a voice to victims that have gone through things, and just saying like, hey, like, y'all not alone, and these are things that regular ass dudes, regular ass black men, we think about this shit, and we have conversations about this, and we think deeply about this. So with all that being said, if you have stayed for this whole thing, we appreciate you for sticking with us. This episode, we're shooting this on a Friday. This episode will be out on Tuesday. And
enunciate, man. I just heard you mess up on Friday.
I messed up on Friday?
Yeah, you had Friday.
Man,
listen, man.
Todd, turn on. We about to turn on UFC, and we about to really show this dude the
how
to show respect.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The fact that you're using him as your scapegoat for him to fight me in UFC.